As you can see, this presentation is not only mine, it's also from Edward. Edward, would you please stand up? Thank you, Edward. Edward is my academic associate and right hand. We work together, we prepare this especially for you. I can easily get stressed and he helps me to calm down. So he's a good gal. And I am publicizing his presentation on critical thinking and skills that we might not be teaching. 5:30, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Then we will talk about some changes. English as a social skill as well. I will show you what happened in Greece in February, because there was an event like this, and different ways to cope with the future and the status of English now. All right. But first of all, please meet your neighbor. Hey, but meeting your neighbor, if you don't add something like, please tell your neighbor your name. Ed, I would ask you to ask her name, please. Do you have a mic? All right, let me use this mic to fasten up.
Okay. Yeah.
What's your...
Yeah. It's working. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, my name is Citlali.
Citlali.
Lali.
Lali.
Yes.
What's the meaning of your name?
It means star in Mayan.
It means, sorry?
Star.
Star. All right. Did you ask your neighbors about their names? No? Please ask your neighbors the names and the meaning. And the meaning.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
there is a gentleman with a green skirt, and he doesn't have a neighbor. All right, he's getting interested. Okay. You got introduced. Sorry, in the back. What's his name? Pedro. What's the meaning of Pedro?
I didn't get to ask him.
Okay, please ask him. Please ask him.
It means stone.
It means stone. It means stone, yes. And it's a bit biblical, isn't it? All right. Okay, who doesn't know the meaning of his or her name? Raise your hands. You don't know. Your first homework, my darlings. This is your first homework, and this is the way I start every single class, asking them, what's your name? What's the meaning of your name? And are there any other popular Pedros or popular Citlalis? There must be a star, an artist, a Citlali star. Pedro. We have a nice Pedro in the Flintstones. Yes? And we have a Russian Pedro. All right? Some of the students don't know the meanings, and when you involve them, engage them in personal things, it gets them interested. Now, tell me, what's the most important thing for you? Shout it at me. Shout it so that I can listen. I'm a little deaf. Learning is important, but I'm not looking for learning at this moment. What is the most important? Money. Somebody said money. Money is quite important, but no. What's the most important?
Health.
Peace and love. That's important, but it's not what I'm looking for. What's the most important? Happiness is important, but I'm not looking for happiness. What? You. I was looking for that. Thank you very much, the tennis women. Okay, so now I ask everybody, what is the most important?
Being alive.
Me. Yo, mi, me, conmigo. So what is the most important? Okay, again, everybody. What's the most important? Me. Exactly. And it's not being egocentrical, not being the selfish person we are, but yes, according to Viktor Frankl, I don't know if you read this wonderful book about the man en búsqueda del sentido de la vida, he said that we are unique, irreplaceable, and then he had another characteristic that I just forgot. Unique, irreplaceable, and inimitable. So there's you, with your capabilities, you with your pride, you with your needs, you with your interests, and you sharing them, and of course happiness. I did not listen about health, and I'm sure somebody shouted and I didn't listen well. You said money, yes, but again, what's the most important? Everybody? Great. Me is also important. All right. Now, let's read this sentence together. All right. Rox, would you read it for us?
Education systems need to rapidly improve and expand their quality of teaching in order to provide young people with the skills and knowledge to meet the challenges of economic and technological change.
Thank you very much, Rox. Best of British Be Built took place some weeks ago, and what I grasped that was the main message was remote teaching, and was that we might not be teaching what the students as later citizens in a world will need to cope with the different demands. So this is a danger, and this is a challenge as well for us to rethink what we are teaching and what the needs, not only one, what the needs of society and this world we're living in will entitle. All right? You agree or you disagree? Raise your hand if you agree. Okay. Okay, raise your hand if you disagree. You're paying attention. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Why should we learn English nowadays? Kay talked about Chinese, about Hindi, and about Spanish as well. I tell my kids to feel proud. You already speak an international language, and a beautiful language, because Spanish is really a beautiful language, isn't it? We are already international, geographically and the number of speakers, comma, but, comma, nevertheless, what do you think about English? Okay. As a mom, as a daddy, you want your children to grow up and be successful, have a good job, have opportunities. Hopefully they travel. Isn't traveling lovely? And then you go to Prague. Have you been to Prague? Do you know how to speak Czech? I don't either. And guess what? English saves you. Spanish, a little bit. And they like to listen to our Spanish. But English helps you there. Or in India. Well, in India, English was the unifying language. Okay. Do languages change? Okay. Have you taken a selfie today? Is it a new word?
Yes.
Who uses the word selfie? In this room, who uses the word selfie? Everybody. Who hasn't taken a selfie? I didn't until very recently because I felt it was stupid. But this is my own way of coping with certain things. How many selfies have you got? Okay, a friend of mine, a British teacher, inherited her daughter's iPhone. And he found like 300 or 400 selfies. And then he said, hey, Mary, what should I do with them? Don't erase them, don't delete them, Dad. Okay, she had forgotten to transfer them. And they're treasures, aren't they? Okay, well. Now, here I have a little chart. This was presented recently, October last year, when there was a completely online conference called Teaching for Success. And Sadie Madlock checked the quality of teaching in some places. I will allow you, can you read the differences? Okay, you have South Korea and you have Finland. Please check it, contrast it, and use your critical thinking, because I will ask you some questions afterwards, all right? So be critical. Analyze, contrast, and be critical. Lali, will you tell me when I only have 10 minutes left, please?
Okay.
So you are my time management manager
All right.
and my boss today.
Okay.
Thank you.
9:25.
The what?
Now it's 9:25.
Oh, it's 9:25, so I need to set the time.
Have you finished? Have you finished? Yes? One was the first one regarding educational quality, and one got the 40th place. Which got the first quality, educational quality place? Finland, no, South Korea. Finland got the 40th place. My presentation will stay here. It's got some notes, and you can check all the countries that were tested. I have to tell you that Mexico was not included. Chin. Nevertheless, where do you find Mexico more? In the Finland or in the South Korea? South Korea? The kids spend 7 days a week, class? Okay, they have a lot of homework. Yes, it starts at 6 years. Sorry, I think you're right. Okay, but Monday to Friday. Okay, so maybe it's a mixture. All right? Now, I told you, think critically. There are problems. What problem do you foresee in a humanistic point of view? Please. A lot of stress. And I wrote it here. Where is it? Education lifelong. Well, I don't find it now in my notes, sorry. But yes, a real outrageous stress. High suicide rates in South Korea. So you see, the pitfalls and the risks are great when you have a system that doesn't cope with entertainment, with leisure, with times to rest, less homework. Our homework should be realistic. Some of you already have some homework to find out about your names, all right? But I think it'll be interesting. The presentation is back. And I will tell you, when I did that, I try to do it every single time I have a new group. I had a Sylvia, who was, normally I have students 19, 20, 21 years old, university level students. And Silvia, I don't know why, but she was obliged to take English, pobrecita, and she was 40, in her 40s, 50s. She did not know what Silvia meant. And the second class, she comes and asks me, Renate, can I give you a hug? And I say, bueno. So she hugged me and she said, you know what? I am not a veterinarian. I am a biologist. My specialty is selvas tropicales. Silvia is the goddess of the silvicultura. And I love my name, and my name goes along with everything I've done the last 20 years. And then I said, well, go and hug your parents. Okay? Well, this is what happens. I also had another story. Abraham. He did not do his homework. So the next day I said, well, you're married to Sarah. You had a son, Isaac, and you almost slaughtered your son. He never came back to my class. He didn't like, and I told him about the meaning of his name, but he didn't like it. Well, that's what I assume. Or he didn't like me. I don't know. All right. Now, in the next slide, I will ask you some questions related to what you have in the screen. So, how to improve systems? You have 5. And let's make like a little survey, and you will raise your hands accordingly. So please read the 5 possible suggestions for enhancing or improving education. Finished? I think you have. You're fast readers. More government funding for education. Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Smaller class sizes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. More technology. 1, 2, 3, but you're raising your hands double. Okay, like 5 or 6. A thoughtful and effective reforma educativa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Better teachers. Better teachers, the majority. I have always seen this wonderful scenario, and I have always been tempted to sit down and read. I took this at the airport. Was it at the airport? Yes, at the airport. I'll read you something about Reforma Educativa. You're right, it's better teachers. I'm deviating. And it's just because I would like to sit here, and maybe you would like to join me here. No, it's difficult. And I'll read you something about the problems, and this is one trend, our politicians. CEP, libremos educación de ocurrencias. Your hypothesis, what will it be about? Libremos educación de ocurrencias. And then the next subtitle. Los gobernadores son grandes aliados para dar continuidad a los cambios en la enseñanza cuando este gobierno termine sus funciones, aseguró Nuño Mayer. I'll read you another paragraph. And then I would like one of you honestly telling me what you believe. La reforma educativa y el nuevo modelo de enseñanza deben tener continuidad y estar libres de ocurrencias y sellos políticos de quienes vengan cuando este gobierno termine. Bla, bla, bla. I invite someone to come here and tell me what you think, what you honestly think. If I jump, I might break my leg. Anybody? Ah, Lali is going to help me. Anybody, please, we have a courageous lady there telling us what she thinks about this. It's not working? Hello, hello. Andres, where are you? Andres is hiding between
Yeah, hi. My name is Suzette.
Hi, Suzette. Good morning.
I would like to say that I'm not agree with everything that related to the Reforma Educativa, because the person who made that isn't a teacher, and I think that he never was in the classroom. And the person who made this don't know anything about the students and the teachers and the way to teach. And the emotions, and that persons forget or forgot that the material that we use to work are human beings. So that's that I think.
Thank you very much, Suzette.
Thank you.
What's the meaning of your name, Suzette?
Flor de miel.
Órale,
It's
Suzette.
Mexican name. It's Nahuatl.
But you know that in German, süß
Yeah.
is sweet?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yes, of course.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Süße Suzette.
Thank you.
All right. So government, politicians influence what we do, and they help us sometimes, and they don't. And Suzette, thank you for telling us that some politicians built up all these wonderful new ways of teaching. For instance, inglés obligatorio a nivel primaria. Haha, where are the teachers? Haha, where are the qualified teachers? Okay, and yes, the money. Well, we're not here because we earn a lot. That's a true. Okay, now this. Okay, so better teachers, keep that in mind. And therefore, some alternatives we will talk about more, improving the quality of teaching. And yesterday we heard it at least in 2 of the talks I attended about the CPD that we need to develop ourselves. I recently took a Coursera MOOC on coaching. I took one on child care awareness obligatoriamente, because if I want to work for the British Council, I need to take this child care awareness course. So some of the continuous development I do, it's voluntarily, and some of it I have to do it. They kick me to do it. Okay. Now, I will read you the following. Continuous professional development is only effective when it is sustained and ongoing, when it has a strong focus on subject matter, when we relate to it, when we understand it, when we are interested, when we are, let's use an analogy, married to whatever we're learning, to whatever we're doing. So, when it has a strong focus on subject matter, but knowledge as well as teaching competence, and is supported by school leadership. I hope that every single institution you work at helps you to get trained, helps you to bring in specialists to talk to you. And maybe I am talking to the wrong people, because you're here, and that already means that you care and that you want to be updated. But there are many, 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 many teachers that never ever have an opportunity to get trained. You were criticizing this Reforma Educativa. And maybe the Reforma Educativa hasn't really placed a lot of a financial support to keep on training us. All right? So, why do you keep on learning? Because you are proud of yourself, because you want to teach efficiently. Self-esteem, self-esteem really is greatly influenced if you are better prepared. They should take that away. It's disturbing the people. And you feel more confident. How did you feel when you started teaching? Were your legs trembling? Were you afraid of the children, learners, students you were talking to? I think that there was a lot of adrenaline. But as soon as you started feeling more confident and you lost this fear, stage fear, at the beginning, right now I feel better. But whenever I have to do this, I get a stage fright. And if I should ever lose it, I will not lecture or do a workshop anymore, because then you lose part of what should happen. Okay, now, we heard about a father yesterday, remember? This wonderful Leah Hernandez, Leah something Hernandez, yes? She talked about her father. Well, my father has influenced a lot in me, not the teaching. That was an accident. It was an accident because I needed to earn money, and the only thing I could do is speak English, and then I said, well, I'm going to teach English. Without any knowledge, without any methodological background, no theory behind, but lots of good willing, lots of empirical trying, and that's the way. But here, this is my dad. I am in Washington, D.C. last year, before Trump. Okay. And I was talking, where do you think this is? It's got five walls in the Pentagon. Yes, I was in the Pentagon, and we had a guided visit because this is a general who's a friend of my dad. All right. But I met a colonel. Oh, coronel? You say coronel? And she was a lady. Beautiful lady dressed in her coronel outfit. And then she said that she was a specialist in readiness. And of course, as a language teacher, you are interested in vocabulary and in knowing what it means. So I said, readiness? Maybe I need to be ready for something that I did not know about. And then she started talking about her duty. Her duty is whenever Army or Navy people come back to the United States, they need a moment where they get accustomed to coming back, to the families, to the new job, if they have a job. Come back with all the feelings they have had during the last months that can be horrid experiences or not so horrid experiences. So this lady, together with a group, helped these soldiers to come back. All right. And then I said, well, this can be translated into our practice. Are we ready? Are we ready? Ready for what? Ready, I checked very quickly in these free dictionaries, but not Wikipedia, but another one which is not very good. And it said, prepared or available for service, very much related to Army, etc. Action or progress. And then they had an example. I am ready to work. Now, among yourselves, talk about, as an ELT practitioner, what are you ready to? Okay? Please talk to the green man. You find someone. The lady there, I hope you find someone to talk to. What are you ready to do as a teacher? What are you ready to do in your classroom? What are you ready to risk, etc.? Okay? Are you doing this? I see that over there you're so isolated. Maybe you want to get closer in the back. No? Okay? Find a neighbor and very quickly talk. What are you ready to? At least 2 or 3. Again, you're alone. Come and tell me. You're looking for someone. Yes, please, that's a good idea. Thank you. I hope that with this talk, you're not ready to quit your job. Because sometimes this could happen. I was teaching an ISIL course, and there were 2 teachers who worked for an X institution, a nameless institution, and they were terribly unhappy because they used the same method. They could not deviate and do any other things, nor develop new competences or competencies. They were stuck to a method and so on, and they were quite unhappy because in this course I was talking about changes, I was talking about moving the roles and changing, and they started to get really unhappy, frustrated. And you know what I told them? Teach somewhere else. That was the solution for those teachers. One of them changed, and now she's a happy teacher. The other one is still unhappy. Okay? All right. You might have said that you're ready to CPD. Continue. Remember, we love acronyms. Yes? TESOL, TEFL, to CPD. Motivate your students. We had a wonderful talk about research on motivation. Intrinsic, extrinsic, instrumental, etc. Integrative, etc. Motivation is motivation, and that's wonderful. Are you motivated to teach? Because we try to motivate our students, but how motivated are each of you? So what is the most important? Again, what is the most important? Me, the mighty me. Your motivation, your self-encouragement, your self-drive to do things. Create authentic learning opportunities. And I will go to social teaching, social skills. Help students to feel welcome. Okay, let me find here. Okay, remember, now I have her name, her complete name. Remember yesterday, Leah Katz Hernandez opening this wonderful event? Okay, how did we feel? Motivated. Of course, we also felt like, ugh, I have had 2 legs, I have had 2 eyes, I have had all my senses. At UNAM, in one of the last gacetas, we have Matías. Matías, have you seen that gaceta? You can check it. Gaceta, you write Gaceta, you Google Gaceta UNAM, Matías. Yes? Matías is laying in, I don't know if it is a rolling chair or another thing. Behind Matías is his mom. And Matías is holding, and maybe you want to look for it in your mobiles. Matías is holding his Ciencias Políticas major certificate. He did most of the study online, but the day he had to present the test, he came to UNAM, Ciudad Universitaria, and with the help of the mother, who always read and read to him what he was interested in, he did not only do a great presentation, he has a mención honorífica. So there are lovely cases. That day when I got the Gaceta, I asked my students, go and get a Gaceta, each of you, and we read Matias' story so that they reflected on the miracle, and we will end this talk about being a miracle. Okay, so be competent, become excellent in what we love doing, and be more ELT alive. Do you remember a teacher who sat down, never ever changed the pitch of the voice, who always read, and who always said the same things? Do you remember a teacher like that? My history teacher was like that. And I started loving history when the next year I had a teacher who would act history to us. And then he said, this Spartacus was a handsome, very well-built man. And then I fell in love with history and Spartacus. Okay. Now, a few reflections. Here we have 2 quotes. I will read them to you because I still have got many slides. Not teach about the language, but communicate in the language. You can have the presentation, you will have my email, and you will request it, or it's staying here, all right? So don't worry about copying. Or, not a great deal of knowledge, nor having lots of information, but being able to use spontaneous language for social purposes. Here I am starting to talk about the social skills our students need because of the demand outside the classroom, outside the place they're learning the language. And in different contexts, different registers. Yesterday you had here the rep of the Secretaría de Gobierno de Durango. If he's my tío, I would say, hi, Paul. ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llamaba? Do you remember the name of this rep? I don't. Okay, and you don't either. It's okay. But you would say, you would salute in a proper way, because we not only learn the language, but we also learn appropriacy. And according to Julian Edge, who wrote that wonderful book, Mistakes and Errors, he said, and he claimed, that the worst possible errors were appropriacy or social errors. Okay? When in Brazil you do this, don't do it. I did it because the food was delicious, delicious, and you cannot do it in Brazil. Or in Germany, un poquito o al ratito, yes? Not in Holland. Okay, now let me continue. Here we have some facts, and most of us, I hope you agree, are in the expanding circle. So we are users of English as a foreign language. It says there 100 million to 1 billion. In fact, these figures, Kay yesterday gave us more updated figures. But according to John Nack in 2014, he said in a TESOL convention that it's already like 1.5 billion people speaking English. And it doesn't matter if they are native speakers or if they learn the language as a second language. Okay? Edward, please help me. We have 4 categories here. It's a Wordle. Okay, before you give us the solution, I ask you to try in your mind to place them in 4 categories. This is a little stimulus before the incoming slides, okay? Have you placed the words in 4 categories? Have you been able to do that? Okay, please, let's check if Edward got them correct, okay? Edward.
Bueno, yeah. Okay. Englishes and globalization. Correct? Okay. And motivation, interest, need, collaboration. Okay, very good. ELT and ELL. And blended learning, ICTs, and tech-powered.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay, thank you so much.
Did he get it correct? Bravo, Ed. Thank you. I think we are missing some words that are nowadays part of what we listen to, new things, like the flipped classroom. I thought a flipped classroom like that. I have tried it. It hasn't worked with me because sometimes I get quite traditional. This was born, the flipped classroom, with mathematics. Students couldn't really do well doing mathematics and science, so somebody invented this flipped classroom feature. And the kids do the homework in the classroom, and then they go home, and then they study, and then they learn, and so on. I don't know if my students didn't understand what I was trying to do, or if I was the one that didn't encourage them correctly. I might have to do some action research, have 2 groups, and try it again. And maybe I am the variable negativa. Sometimes we are those variables that don't help. Let's be fair and let's recognize that sometimes it's us not doing things rightly. Thanks again, Ed. Now, we'll start with the talk. This is, I don't know, yesterday I heard the name of Adrian Underhill yesterday in one of the talks. He's in Hastings, and he's a great teacher, a great motivator, and he's been several times to Mexico. And one of the things I remember was him giving a talk about correction, and he said something that I love, that for us teachers, los errores te brincan. Do the errores jump at you? When you are reading something, do they jump? Okay. Probably they jump for the students, but for us teachers, they really jump. Or whenever you are reading in the newspaper, don't you find lovely mistakes? La chica, la novia, llegó con un vestido de organdí blanco y unas aplicaciones no sé qué. El muchacho llegó impotente. What was the mistake, ladies? An N. An N changed for a T. But we don't know. Maybe it was true. Okay? O somos profesionales. Okay? I pick up mistakes from different places. I take pictures and then I bring them into the class. And I steal things. Holiday Inn Medical Center in Houston, they had this safety plastic thing stuck at the door. I stole it. Why? Because the translation from English to Spanish was hilarious. Trabe nariz con boca, húmedo, toalla. No rompo vidria, peligro outside. All right? Do you do things like that? Realia, do you take menus from places? Yes? Okay. Networking, so this is Adrian Underhill, and this is, as you can see, it's not quite updated. Nevertheless, it is, I found other sources, and they were quite repetitive. We network. We have built interest groups. And by the way, IATEFL will start 4th April. But already April the 3rd, online you can watch most of the plenaries and some of the talks. Okay? And the 6 SIG, interest groups. I belong to 2 or 3 interest groups and they send me information. One of them has to do with drama for teachers. Yesterday we were listening to burned out teachers, or teachers who are not really respected. What's that? Women teachers in the Arab countries. They have a different status than if you were a man. So you see, and you are nodding and say, hey, but it's true. We have heard about this, learner-centeredness and learner needs. Reflective practice. When you finish the class and you self-evaluate, you self-assess, and you reflect, but your students as well. They reflect on how they have learned, what they have learned, what is still missing, how difficult it was, how boring it was, I don't know, but you can do a reflective little 2-3 minute time every class, or do it every once and again. Remember yesterday in one of the talks we heard about e-portfolios, to keep the evidence, to see how the student is developing. Who is teaching children? You're teaching children. Do you have portfolios? Do you keep the evidence? When you have a problem with one kid, do you have the drawings and then the parents come and you can tell the parent why the student is developing as he should, maybe comparing it to other anonymous portfolios? It really can help, and it really helps for the student to feel proud that at the end he takes the portfolio home and he's happy to see all the work that has been taken during the semester or the year. Syllabus design, materials development. You have here the publishing companies. Check the books. They have changed. In some of them, mobile is being included. One of the publishing companies, your textbook is a plastic armband which you stick on the computer. Of course, you need that lovely smart board, and your book is an armband. Have you seen those? No? They do exist. But since I will not talk about any particular publishing company, you have to find out which company does that. English as an international language. Yes, remember English, yes. American English, British English, Australian English, Chinglish, Spanglish, Singaporean English, Nigerian English. David Crystal and David Gradle claim that there are more than 70, 80 varieties. What kind of English do you speak? Mexican English, Spanglish, Mexican English. Yes. Our students, it's expected that they say a school, a student, Yes, it is. And the wanted, all the verbs are it. Yes, I play it. It's normal. You can expect these things to happen. Who is a Cambridge examiner? 1, 2. Okay. Isn't it true? Hi there, I know you. Hello. We love each other, sorry. Isn't it true? And I don't know you, therefore but I might also like you and love you as she. But isn't it true that accent is not important when you are doing the oral interview? Fluency, intelligibility, yes, but not accent. And when we do our training, you should see how much we suffer, especially with Asiatic people speaking English. We're not accustomed to their accent. Nevertheless, they are intelligible, their stress is somewhat correct, the rhythm is okay, intonation is more or less, pronunciation is, but we're not accustomed to that Asiatic accent. But it's not really a problem, okay? Now, this is another set, and this is 2014. Perspective of English. What's that? This has changed, and I will prove to you. Teaching English as a second language. Teaching English as a second language. Teaching English as a second language. TESOL, like an other language, remember that? Teaching English for specific purposes. And another one? All right, thank you very much, for academic purposes. And I have 2 more. One is an invented one. Okay, TECL. Teaching English as a communicative language. And this one, it's not invented by me. I'm not that creative, but I found it somewhere. TESR, Teaching English for Social Responsibilities. Wow. All right? Isn't that a challenge and something that we should think about? TSR, Teaching English for Social Responsibilities or Purposes. Okay? And then we have the goals of English teaching and learning are changing. Why? Because we're teaching differently. I remember when I started teaching English, I said, this is a pen, this is a table. And choral repetition was very important. And it still is, because of the suprasegmental features. You want them to learn rhythm, intonation, pronunciation, and sometimes it helps. Remember the jazz chants? I've got a headache. And then somebody said, take an aspirin. I've got a stomachache. Take some Pepto-Bismol. All right? It helped because language became a bit memorable. They memorized some chunks of language, and it was good for all that. But we cannot teach choral repetition every single class. We try to have them communicate. Usually the books start with introductions. Yes, my name is Fulanito de Tal. I live in Chilangolandia. Ni modo. Todos tenemos pecados. All right. The teaching, the content, the curriculum, the design, and the assessment, they are part of the trends. We assess now when we take this topic, we assess formally using tests, quizzes, surveys, etc. But we also test informally. Do you assess informally? And you can do it written, anonymously, or at the end of the class, what did you learn, etc. Okay? And this continues. There, in this site, Jilin Su talks about 8 trends. I only selected 6. Expanding the communicative competence. And I am stressing out the social skills, the social responsibilities. Integration de las TICs. Ustedes saben que es T-I-C-K. TIC, garrapata. No, but this is technology. And I have heard this, and this is not new. I have heard this, I heard that 15 years ago. Traditional teacher, not traditional teacher. Students' responsibilities. Both take risks. It's not the failure of the teacher or the failure of the students. It's they share the failure, they share the success. But now, let's go into futurology. The British Council says, and let's read together, by 2030, substantial increase of the supply of qualified teachers through international cooperation for teacher training in developing countries. Is Mexico a developing country? You would say yes, but do you think there are countries that need more development than Mexico? Sí, no somos de los peorcitos. Yes, we are in the good track, and that's why you're here. How? How? There are 3 slides that tell us how. Again, as you will see, these trends I selected really overlap and are a bit repetitive, so I'll go very quickly. Improve the quality. We have read about it. Here, maybe this is a bit more explanatory. Matching high quality training and development materials flexibly for students' own specific needs. Yesterday, when we had the first introductory session, we had in our minds the special educational needs, SEN acronym. Tell me, dyslexia is one. Another one? 10 minutes, thank you. I'll finish. Dyslexia, hyperactivity, the attention deficit disorder, ADD. Dyspraxia, have you heard about dyspraxia? When you cannot move and you need rampas, you need special ways to move around the classroom, and we have others. When I took the British Council Special Educational Needs course, they included something that I thought great, talented and gifted children, and we were talking on Roxana was driving us here, and we were talking about gifted students. They also become part of the special educational needs. And what about misbehavior? 2 years ago, Edward and I were talking about bullying. The bully and the bullied, both victims. And then you have also blind kids, Down syndrome, etc., etc. All right? So we are trying to be flexible, but also inclusive. And it's part of the policy of many educational systems. But this is my question, and I already did a talk on inclusion. Who of us has been really trained to cope with special educational needs? We need training, we need preparation. We're not psychiatrists, we're not psychologists, but we're educators. And if, ahora sí que los políticos and other groups are sending special, wonderful kids to our environment, we should be prepared. How, I don't know. But I am sure that you will find your way, and this is important. Each of us needs to find a way to getting prepared, because maybe that special learner you have has a sombrita, the sombra, who takes personal care. But this kid will help others grow, because others will help the kid, and the kid will help others, because, you know, if we foster a good environment, life goes hand by hand. So it can really, and who has a special kid in the classroom? Nobody? You do. How difficult is it for you? Okay, the school is an inclusive school. Thank you. Okay, so she did different activities for that kid because she wasn't at the level of others. But do you think, in your mind, do you think that that kid will be able to be ready with the others? Okay, that's wonderful. That student, she, is learning social skills. I hope that they have accepted her. Okay, thank you so much for intervening. Okay, now, another strategy is ensuring continuous development systems. The MOOCs, you find one, I don't know how many MOOCs from really, really acknowledged universities like Stanford. Yes, they offer lots of freebies. Of course, if you want a certificate, then they ask you to send some money. But do you need so many certificates? Okay, improve the outcomes of learners. And here we talk about a national policy. We already talked about national policies, and we have our doubts. But we also have our hopes as well. Okay, integrating technology effectively. In this event, we have heard lots of good ideas to use the mobile. Who Kahoot last night here? Didn't you enjoy the experience of Kahooting? With questions that had to do with competencies, and other stuff. Wasn't it a great experience? So technology really brings in modernity, but also motivation. Okay, as a global education, and let me come to the front. Okay, I will finish. I will only read the second bit. We as teachers, our roles, a modeler, you give and prompt feedback. You are the learner architect. Do you like that? Do you like to be called a learner architect? Or the network Sherpa? What's a Sherpa? Yes, what's a Sherpa? In Nepal, in Pakistan, the Sherpa is the shepherd. Did you know that? I didn't either. But then you have to find out. The synthesizer, at the end of the class, you will conclude with, I don't know what, if you have time. Normally, we don't have any time. The connected learner incubator, do you like that? The architect and the incubator. The change agent. What happens if we are reluctant to change? My dad, and you saw him, he doesn't have internet. He doesn't use emails, he doesn't WhatsApp, and then when I read him something, he wants to know, where did I get the information from, and why is the video there? He doesn't understand that. I don't understand some things either, and I think they're miracles. A learning concierge, like in a hotel. They know where to get the tickets. They know ways to the place. We are guides, we are experts, but we are also learning from the kids. I learn a lot. They help me using the stupid computer. I call it the bicho. Arréglame el bicho, les digo a los chicos. So think about how to change positively, will you? And now, as changes, I know I have, do I have like 2 minutes? Okay. Okay, here, I will not read the whole thing, but in Brazil, they had a wonderful event called Teaching English in a Fast-Changing World. Okay? The future will be like a blender. Society, labor, job opportunities, they need social skills like negotiation, like convincing. Okay, I will not go into this. If you want the presentation, this was done in Athens in February. Wendy set up a whole summary about, a whole summary about the changes teachers and students have inside. Okay, we write differently, we read differently, and maybe we speak less. Have you seen in a restaurant nobody speaking? Everybody is with the bichitos, okay? There are problems when you use technology. Look at the next picture. Has this happened to you? You Google and you find very crazy things and you want to pull your hair. Now, dear audience, please stand up and I'll be finished. But yes, everybody, please stand up. Okay? Thank you. Everybody, everybody. It'll be just a short while. And now, so to see that everybody's standing up, let me come back. Gracias. Is everybody standing up? No, there's a lady not standing up. Please tell her to stand up. Great. That's the enthusiasm a teacher needs. Don't sit down yet. Come on. All right, then deal with the problem, solve it. Okay, have a look at the size of your feet. Yes? Now, check how tall you are. How tall are you?
Not very tall.
So maybe one of your feet is like 25 centimeters, 26, 27. Yes? How tall are you? 160, 170. I know Roxana is very tall. Okay? How many times can you place your feet in your body? How many times? About how many times? Just quickly. 6, 7 times? Yes? Okay, now, show me your right hand. Touch your nose. Open your mouth. Laugh. Okay, think of a bad word. In English. Grab your ear. Touch the cheek of your neighbor. Lightly, because you have to be careful about doing that. Okay. It's a miracle. What's the most important? You are a miracle. We are a miracle. And I'll tell you. Okay, where is the... Let's meet one of your oldest relatives. The Homo habilis used the hands, and it was 2.5 to 1.5 million years ago. Then look at another miracle. You are standing on your feet, which are like very tiny to this whole rest, to the rest of the body. So from habilis, you and I evolved to erectus. Yes, 1.9 million years ago. And guess what? From the habilis, erectus, chuck, back. Come on, what am I doing? Ed, help me. Okay, we're almost finished. From the habilis, the erectus, chuck, what happened there? Sapiens. Sapiens. Okay, please touch your head and please place your mouth and your ears and kiss your brain. The sapiens. You are capable of thinking. You are capable of elaborating. You are capable to invent, to risk, to use language, to write, to listen to music. Okay? As an example, we'll do this. The memory. If I start, da 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 dee da dee dam. Finish. Or da da dee da dee da dee da 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 da. Okay, that's your memory. So again, you can kiss your brain. Nevertheless, I do believe that from the habilis, what came next? Erectus, the sapiens. Now there are two more. Digitalis technologicus. And it's becoming part of us. And the children, they know how. They are now touching the screens and trying to move the screens. They're clicking. That was not part of our intelligence. That's part of our evolving. And now, look, genetically, we're 99% genetically similar. But guess what? You are unique. You are interchangeable. You are inimitable. So what is the most important? You. So when you go back to your students, to the learners, and if you felt something special today, try to bring that into your environments as happy as you can do it. Thank you. The next slide, please, Ed. No, the last one. You're doing it the other way. Okay. If we are able to inspire, we won't replace. And one of my novios, Albert Einstein, he says, imagination is more important than knowledge. And I have other quotes, but I think I'll stop now. Thank you so much for coming along and for interacting so wonderfully. Thank you so much.
José Rosas Aispuro, Governor of Durango, Escuela de Lenguas in ATC 2017. We would like to give you a small present.
Thank you, Lali.
Thank you for making us feel unique, and we enjoy all your knowledge.
Thank you very much.
Thank you a lot.
You're a miracle.